All right, gentlemen, on the agenda, we are back in open session now, and I'm looking for a motion to approve the deputy for the contracted services for the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department Police Services to replace Ward Hollingsworth. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Swanee to approve Riley Schmidt as our contracted employee. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by trustee Newman. Discussion, gentlemen.
We have to say anything of Deputy Bell for the interim?
Yeah, yeah, we probably should. I don't know if we need it in the motion because, you know, but deputy, is Zach Bell
Bell
will be covering us from now till January 1st, and then our contracted employee, full-time employee will be Riley Schmidt, who's been with the Sheriff's Department. God, I know he's been in law enforcement for over 7 years, but Zach, he looks like he's 12. But I think he said he was in law enforcement for 2 years. So,
yeah.
Further discussion, gentlemen. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On item number 7, we'll get back to later in the meeting. So now I am going to read the public notice that our clerk administrator also published this in the Freeman and posted in 2 areas or 3 areas in the village too.
Yeah,
and on the website. So full compliance with the open meetings law regarding to public notice. But on Thursday, November 16, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the Village of Vernon Hall, located at W249 South 8910 Center Drive, a public hearing for the 2020-24 proposed budget for the Village of Vernon and Waukesha County will be held. The proposed budget in detail is available for inspection in the office of the clerk administrator from 8 a.m. to 3:30. And it is on the village's website, and the notice was posted inside and outside the village hall and on the village's website, and was also published in the Freeman. Gentlemen, I know that you worked a long time on this budget, and there's probably not a lot of discussion on it, but unfortunately there's no one from the public here to ask questions. But any comments from the board, or you want to go into a motion? What is your pleasure, gentlemen? First of all, I want to thank the Finance Committee and the board. I mean, this is probably the toughest year we've had to work on a budget with, you know, trying to catch up on some of our financial issues. I know it's going to be better. I know we'll be in much better shape next year, and I did promise the fire department I have some more information on the board for things that we're going to do next year, so it could be a little bit more proactive. But I'm number one, so proud of the board and the finance committee, Tom Tomasek, for all the hard work that you guys did. Like I said, this was, in my perspective, probably one of the toughest years to do, but you guys did a great job. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you all, and thank Tom. But with that, is any further discussion from the board? Or Brad, did you want to add anything, or?
No, I mean, we've maxed out the levy to what we can do, which we want to do. We don't want to leave any unused levy on the table because it just penalizes you down the road. And with that, I mean, it's the levy, what we're looking for. There's not a lot of change to the levy, and with our taxpayers, we'll see it's 0.8% growth, or 0.3, 0.38% growth net new construction. So there's not a big change, you know, in taxes for our residents, just because there wasn't a ton of new construction, or our value is at 1.3 billion. So it's, you know, 20 homes or 30 homes doesn't equate to a lot for it, but we're continuing to see growth, which is good. In terms of that, the state shared revenues was a big help this year, but we do, you know, have challenges ahead on stuff. So, you know, I think the board put together fair wages for everybody, or at least proposed fair wages for everybody, for staff, which, you know, in this market's always a good thing right now. And, you know, I think we've accomplished a lot of goals. I know that in 24, we're going to talk a lot about capital and what we do next for that, but you know, I think as we move forward, you know, this budget's good with all the challenges we've had this year.
Great. Jim?
Our levy limit is what, 1.25,
For,
24 for next year.
our levy is 1.688.
Say again?
1.688
1.688.
million,
And that's up from,
1.682, so about $6,000 increase.
okay, in the last budget that you sent today, I think, I thought it said 1.25. That's why I was wondering, how are we gonna do it at that rate?
Yeah, the
No.
levy's 1.47, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the mill rate's 1.45 or 7. We really don't set the mill rate, we set the levy, which is, the mill rate set by the assessed value, so. But like I said, 0.38 net new construction, I think is what the number was, $6,000. So it's not a ton of additional funds, but I mean, you know, the extra 150,000 from shared revenues, it really helped us out this year, but, you know, at least we're not looking for places where we're trying to cut. I think we're conservative on our revenues and conservative on our spending, and hopefully that means you bring in more revenues than what you spend and you have a surplus.
And ARPA funds, it looked like they had like 600,000 in ARPA in 23.
Yep.
But when I read the spreadsheet, under the expenses, it looked like it was blank. Like we didn't really spend it, so it was still in our kitty somewhere.
Yeah, so we just have to make a journal entry to show it, because the ARPA is allocated ARPA is allocated to cover everything. It wasn't specifically allocated for specific stuff, but basically it was for the roads. So, and we spent, there was money left over in the borrowing, I believe, and then there was money, the rest was from ARPA, the 630, to cover about the 750 in roads this year, which came in at like 730, but then we've spent money on Center Drive.
And so what Brad and I are gonna do after we get the tax bills out and everything, we're gonna do a comprehensive detailed sheet on all those ARPA funds, what the expenditures were, and all the borrowing, what those, so we have it, and, you know,
Right.
boards that come after us know what we did and what it was spent on. Jim?
Are we anticipating no more ARPA funds coming in?
Yeah, there's none coming.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
we'll have 160, there's about 160 left for
But nothing new.
Right.
24, but
But that's not new money.
there's not new money, and I don't expect there to be a ton of new money coming in unless there's something that really changes.
Getting too close to the elections and things.
Yeah, so I mean, and it's, it'll be a continual watch to see what's out there. I mean, I think if you're gonna see any more funds come in, it's gonna be maybe transportation aids or things like that, but I think on the state level, you're not gonna see them touch shared revenues for a while.
I know they're working on fire and police,
Yeah,
whatever they can do there.
but, I don't expect there to be a bunch of windfalls from the feds or from the state.
I did want to say, I do like the format that Workhorse put that information out in. I assume it came out, that budget stuff all came out of Workhorse.
The spreadsheets were custom, but Workhorse, if you've seen the reports that we have right now, that's just their generic report. What we can do moving forward is if we get a style that the board likes, we can take Workhorse and put it into that same format, and then it will automatically,
Yeah.
you'll
It just seemed to be easier to follow how the money flowed from one
okay.
to the other.
Any further discussion from the board on, or there's no public here. Any further discussion before I close the public hearing? So at this point, I'm closing the public hearing, and it is 6:13. With that, we're moving into the regular business. So, I sent a spreadsheet, excuse me, gentlemen, there might be, Vince is just checking 2 properties for me on the refuse and recycling. But you can see the worksheet that I did, and I think the rate's 174.
Yeah.
174 for next year. So I would need a motion to approve the refuse and recycling rate for 2020-24 at $174 even. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Swanee. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second
Second by trustee Finch. Discussion, gentlemen. I mean, I probably, when I did the calculation, I probably could have made it, 163.94, but I just figured it'd be even, and like I said, there's 2 more properties before, and I wanna give you that spreadsheet as soon as I get done. Stormwater I'm not done with yet, but you can see the tax rate, and when I give you that sheet, I want you to see the cross-reference sheets we get from the county also, but that's a pretty solid number, the 174.
Does that include that extra cost that we get for,
The recycling?
yeah, the actual dumping of the,
No, this is only for the contracted services,
just the services?
Right,
Okay,
right.
okay.
just the contracted, so as I know you gentlemen all know this, but in our budget, we have a revenue expenditure and they match, and that's what this is doing, is raising enough money to, to levy those revenues for refuse and recycling. And there's an automatic 3% CPI or a 3% increase.
Yeah.
And that little extra, which isn't much, I talked to our state legislature and they had said there's not gonna be any increase in the, I always worry about the tipping fees.
That's what I was trying to think
Yes,
of.
yeah, no increase, and I did, and I have that in writing, that there's not gonna be any increase in the tipping fees for 2024. Tonnage, we never know what we're gonna get in tonnage, so we're banking on, that good amount, so. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. In your packet, you have resolution 2020-23-8 adopting the Village of Vernon 2020-24 budget. Fred, was there an exhibit A that went with that?
There is not an exhibit.
So, without having the exhibit, Brett, can we just use, how you did the, budget notice?
Yep.
Gentlemen, that's typically what it is the budget notice, that was, published with, because we don't, I know that all the board members know this, we never adopt a budget by line item budget, we adopt it by the notice that was done in the paper. And that's usually, nope, this isn't it. Yes, this is it. This is what we would use for our Exhibit A. That was in your packet, gentlemen, so this would, Brad will retitle that. So, with that, is there a motion adopting Resolution 2020-23-08, adopting the Village of Vernon 2020-24 budget?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Swanee. A motion was made by trustee Finch. Discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. What I'm gonna do, gentlemen, if you don't mind, is I'm gonna pass this resolution around for your signatures, and I did attach the Exhibit A. So now, we would need a motion to, adopt the 2020-23 tax levy to be collected in 2020-23 and 2024 in the amount of $1,688,682. Is there a motion to that effect?
And do the debt one too.
Oh, and the debt. And the debt is
$271,768.
271. So is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by trustee Finch. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by trustee Swanee. Discussion, gentlemen? Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Gentlemen, if you don't mind, resolution 2020-23-9, I'd rather wait till we can talk about things in closed session, so if I can have, is a consensus of the board that we can just, act on this later? Just, Brad, there's no for the record that, the board by consensus said that we would, discuss, the compensation after we get a chance to talk about it. The next agenda item is the joint powers agreement, County 911 emergency system with Waukesha County. This is a contract that comes out every year, an agreement every year. I don't know if you read John's comments. A lot of times we put a predicate that be reviewed by legal counsel, but I can tell you court counsel is not gonna make any changes to this agreement. So this one, you know, we typically always send it to John, but this one, you know, I mean, he
I
said.
didn't see any changes from last year, you know.
No, and they, you know, they mirror what, you know, by county and, you know, the state statutes on what they can and cannot do, so. At this point, I'd entertain a motion to, approve the joint powers agreement, County 911 emergency system with Waukesha County. Is there a motion to that effect?
Without attorney review,
With no legal review.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Swanee. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Millies. Discussion, gentlemen. Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. Next agenda item is Taylor E. Cruz, looking for an operator's license for 2023 and 2024. You can see in the packet, the clerk administrator has all the information in regards to Taylor. There's nothing on their record, so I would entertain a motion to approve the operator license for Taylor E. Cruz for the 2023-2024 year. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion made by trustee Millies and second by trustee Swanee. Discussion? Jim?
This was just a renewal really for what he had already.
I believe,
I don't think
Because there was
I
a certificate included in the packet.
yeah.
But that really isn't the license,
No,
No,
They,
that-
you know.
they
And
just
so
put
that
that,
one was dated 22, I think, 21 and 22.
they don't have to retake that. Once you've taken it and you've had an active license, you don't have to keep taking your certification.
unless there is I believe there's a gap in time that you have, if you don't have an active license for like 2 years, or, even if you've taken the class, then if you haven't had an active license or that you haven't taken the class in a certain period of time, then you do have to retake the class. But as long as you've held an active license for 2 years, or within like I think it's a 2-year period, then you
Right.
don't have to retake
Okay.
And
I believe they may have previously been a operator in the
I
village.
don't recognize his name.
Okay.
But the other thing, the reason they put that in there, because the last time we were looking at, board was looking at licenses, there was a question as, is all the paperwork there? The only thing, Brad, they don't have to put the background check, that receipt they put in the packet.
Oh,
And when they run the background check, they could just delete the person's, date of birth. You know, just in case somebody makes an open records request for that. That's one thing Macy already said, so. So is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next agenda item is a separation agreement and resignation of the village treasurer. Brad, do you need a motion to approve that?
yes, if we get a motion to cover both.
Is there a motion to approve the separation agreement and resignation with the previous village treasurer?
Assuming we got her copy back signed.
Yep, and you guys should all got, I think, copies.
We have a copy of that.
Motion was made by trustee Swanee to accept. Is there a second to that motion? Second by trustee Newman. Discussion? Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Brad, we have the newsletter. Did you want to take over this one?
Sure. So pretty much everything that's in front of you is pretty much the substance that you'll see in there. Really, the only changes or true additions that need to be added is just touching up the, I know there's a couple things here in President Chu's that needs to come out regarding levies and stuff like that. But just the Park and Rec spring sign-up stuff, there just needs to be an addition on that one page. But beyond that, the articles that you see here will remain as substance with only changes of grammatical stuff. Between now and then, if you guys would choose to approve with allowing staff to make grammatical changes. But everything you see here would be what would be in the newsletter, just with some grammatical changes and the addition of.
Brad, can you put this in like a yellow back so it really stands out
Mhm.
when they're
We can-
in there?
And there would be, the only other comment I'd say is the other non-substantive change would be changing the heading on the front page and just changing it to the Vernon view,
Yeah, the
which
normal
I think is
header.
what it was previously called. So beyond that, that's what,
Don't we get to see the advertisements that they're planning on putting in there?
I think they'll send me a proof there. You know, they have their advertisement policy. I know they're still looking for people to fill it up. There were some ads that were filled, but there wasn't a ton. Last time I looked, there wasn't, in the last one, there wasn't anything controversial that I saw that made it in.
Right.
And they didn't reach out to me about anything that, hey, we got this, would you allow it or would you not, for it.
And there's a program, just, you know, I'm gonna have Brad take out all my, I gave estimates of what county and CTC, cause there's a program that you can put the levies that we get from all those entities that we collect for, but it's not available to me, so I'll just take that out, you know, people are gonna see their tax bills
Yeah,
sooner or later.
That's very shortly.
That's what they care about.
Right. Brad, are you gonna try to squeeze something in on the, Christmas trees?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
there will be something on the Christmas, just probably just put under my article.
Yeah, they're gonna pick them up again, guys, you know, just for
Cut it
2
in
weeks,
half.
right? They're over 6 feet.
If they're over 60.
And then Brad had said too, if they would miss it, the DPW guys will accept, you know, that happens every year that somebody waits till.
Yeah, or we'll take them, if somebody wants to bring their tree down here, we'll take it to them.
So with that, is there a motion to approve the, December 2023 newsletter, with the understanding that, my article is gonna, take those levy portions out, and that, the, administrator and village president will make any minor changes to the newsletter?
And review the ads,
Yeah,
just to make sure
Yeah,
it's something inappropriate.
and review ads, and then, well, I'll entertain a motion to that effect. Is there a move?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Solani, is there a second to that motion? Second by trustee Newman, and then Brad, if you don't mind, when you get your proof, if you could just forward that to the village board, that way you can see it before the newsletter goes out. Does that make sense? With guys? All in favor?
What format was that in? Because I couldn't open it on my iPhone.
I couldn't open it either.
It's in Publisher.
Oh, did they send it in Publisher today? Or the
Yeah,
other day?
we did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
You'll
I'm
just-
sorry, I will send it in
I don't
PDF.
have that on my phone, but
And if you guys get it and I can't open it, just let me know and or jog my memory that, send it in PDF.
Yeah, if you send it in a PDF, then you can open it.
I'm sorry, I would've,
You can't make any
Okay.
changes. Further discussion, gentlemen. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried. Gentlemen, the next agenda item is agenda items. I am going to, send out the ideas that Brad and I have talked about, or the attorney mentioned he wants to talk to the board about. But if you can think of agenda items that you want to talk about in January for an upcoming staff meeting, that would be good.
Date?
January
25th,
last
24th, the last
Thursday.
Thursday of the month.
oh, okay.
Yeah, we set that, and we set it at 1 o'clock. Is that okay, guys?
Okay.
So if you got any items, get them to Brad. Does that sound good, gentlemen?
Sure.
So we don't need any motion there. The next item, I'm not gonna be here December 7th. I have to go to Naples, Florida. It's a tough job, but someone has to
Somebody
do it.
has, clearly somebody has to do it.
And I did ask, trustee Millies if he would, chair that meeting, and he agreed. Does anybody have any problem with that? Nobody cares? Congratulations. I did,
Good luck.
I did ask Brad that if he could, pull Jeff in when him and John talk about the agenda, so just so that Jeff's up on all the inside scoop. Does that sound good, gentlemen?
Yes.
Center Drive project. We've got a lot of meetings on that one, but I don't know if it's anything that,
Yeah, a lot of it's come down lately to the real estate portion. I know they're still working on the environmental, but the big thing is the real estate portion of it. And, we had a meeting this week with, the town chairman from LaGrange. They did a bridge project down there, and he gave insight into the issues they ran into with their right-of-way acquisition for that project. So we're continuing to work on it and strategize how to move forward with it, as right-of-way acquisition can be a delicate process in terms of how you go about and following the proper steps in terms of it. So I know we'll probably have another meeting with Attorney Macy and, potentially the state to discuss it, so.
Right, because we just wanna make sure that we're dotting all of our i's and crossing our t's, so we've had 2 meetings this week. And whenever we have a meeting, we're pulling in, you know, we're making sure that we're covering the state, the county, our engineers, I mean, everybody that we can, so.
Mhm.
So we're just waiting for a little bit more
Property
information.
owner,
What's that?
is the property owner, maybe?
Not yet.
So, yeah,
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 that's
so,
coming.
so that's how we have to be very delicate with the property owner, because they have rights that goes along with this process, and with federal money involved, it's there where, if it was our project, we could maybe be a little bit more informal about the process and talk to them and say, hey, we're looking to do this. Here it is, you know, at the end of the game, or at the end of the day, we potentially would have to go through the process we may have to go through if it was just our local project. But with it being a federal project, we're probably gonna have to take a more formal approach to this.
Right. I initially started the discussion with the county, but then was told that one of the meetings hold off, but now it's back on, so we'll keep you guys posted on what's happening there, but, I mean, I know Brad is watching everything that's happening on that project, so just so you know that we're in good shape, as good as you can be, based upon all the things that are happening. With that, there's no motion, so there's no action taken on the center bridge, it's just basically a report. So we'll go into our correspondence announcements and reports. I just wanted to wish everyone a happy, safe Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, I hope you have safe journeys. If you're deer hunting, I want you to be really, really careful out there for your safety. And at this time of year, everybody's aware that you got to watch out for deer. You know, they only say dusk and dawn, but trust me, they're out there more than dusk and dawn. And as Brad stated, we had several meetings in regards to the bridge project. Brad and I had a good meeting with the Village of McGuanago on the Hine development. I had a good meeting with the League of Municipalities, and as you can see, I'm working on those spreadsheets for the tax bills. And as soon as they're done, I'll get you, I want you to have all the information that I'm looking at, so. And I know, Brad and I talked about, he's got all the inserts ready to go, so.
Yep.
We're in good shape, so those tax bills, hopefully, will be a lot sooner than, I think last year they were on the 20th of December. And people were crabby, God only knows why.
Go figure.
With that, Jim, I turn it over, do you have any announcements, sir? Or report?
I had the same two that you started out with, the happy Thanksgiving, and deer hunting safety. Those are pretty important.
And I know, Jim, you're real up on the gun safety, and
I am now.
wearing orange, so you know. Jim, anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Trustee Finch, do you have any announcements, or?
No, just ditto you two. Be careful, Thanksgiving, be careful here.
Thanks, Gary. Dylan, do you have any announcements, reports? Happy Thanksgiving, or?
Something like that, yeah.
Jeff, any reports,
just-
announcements?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and Christmas lights officially should be turned on Friday after Thanksgiving,
Oh, really?
January 6th.
Uh-oh. We're in trouble.
Can't do it till after Thanksgiving, yeah.
Thanks, Jeff. Brad, do you have any announcements or reports, or?
Not a lot, I think you've covered most of it. We'll be working on election training in December, and then, with that being said, my goal is to get the tax bills, pretty much everything in the county, hopefully by the end of next week. The inserts should be there over the weekend at the latest, and then, get all the final information to the county this next week, and, hopefully tax bills should go out, we'll get in line, so we'll see what, transpires.
Right, sounds good, thanks, Brad. Board members, I know there's no action, but we do have, in your package, you had the report from the fire department and the sheriff's department. Is there any discussion? I mean, that's pretty standard. There is only one thing I forgot to report, Brad, is I have some really, really good information I'm gonna give to you on fire department funding. So I'm gonna email, as soon as I take a look at it, I'll get that out to you, and watch out for that bug. With that, we are looking at accounts payable for November 16th, 2023.
There were a number of things you sent out that you were looking at.
Yeah, Brad, I sent you an email, I know Jeff did too, did you wanna go through those quick, or what would you like to do? The $10,000
Yeah.
state one, I'm sure was that part of the road project?
That's Center Drive.
Okay,
That one was Center Drive.
okay,
Yeah.
not that I.
That's what I was assuming.
Yeah.
Right, when I
Yeah.
saw that, I thought, oh man, so I wanted to ask that, and then, I had questions on the
Hearing. I
the
can-
law firm, are we sending our bills that we're getting for the HOA? I know this one, I think that it was coded, the
Yeah.
HOA, but that's Diamond, right,
Yeah,
communication?
we changed that, so we'll get that. That was, there's an updated, bills packet on there if you want the parts that were updated. Just let me know, I can just send it to you directly, but those were updated, so
And
that.
they took the error out, the 600
Yes,
Okay.
so, to go through, the fourth one, I'll talk to Brett on that for the maps, just so we cut down on that. The Diamond stuff was sent back to, that'll go to the that'll get billed the Diamond and go back. Napa was in there, it was a duplicate, but the check was voided, and so we're just paying the stuff, so I think it probably would've been clear if that duplicate check wasn't in there. So that was taken care of. Securian, was just asking where it was going to, so, which is our life insurance. Life insurance, for the employees automatically deducted through the payroll system and put into the payable account, and then the village portion is also done. Then there's a 20% premium that's put on that's paid, and that portion we've just been divvying out manually in the system. So that's where you see it hitting the life insurance expense accounts in there, and the rest is coming from a payable account. The Spectrum, that invoice is now in the packet. We did verify all the building inspection stuff, DOT.
How are they doing that?
Which one?
How are they verifying, the building inspection, the permits? How do they do the checkoff on that now?
To make sure they add up, or
To make sure that they're in the system?
I think they're going through Vinnie's lists and verifying that all of them are in there.
And then they can, because that's what they used to do, is look at Vinnie's list and then look in the system, and they're in
Yeah.
the system? Okay.
Yeah, because they can enter each one somewhat, they can break each amount instead of putting in a lump sum total per se.
Yeah, because that's one thing that was never done before, and previously we listed the permit number so that you can double check that. It's a lot of
This
money.
is the first time that I remember seeing that breakdown in the packet, where we had all the different, from Vinnie, all the different licenses, permits that he issued, and the name. I don't remember seeing that before in the packet.
Oh, you mean, in the AP packet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was pretty good.
And then, the earmark invoices, were corrected, to the right amount, and the receipts were in there. And then, the Ingleson one was also is in the AP packet now, along with Weller Supply and the Justin Schubulis. There was an additional 30 cents on there that shouldn't have been, so that was corrected
Okay.
in the bills. And then the only other one to note, there was our tax bill mailing check is the first one on the stack, and that one was, in there, for it too.
Right.
So, but those were all the questions.
I had gone through it pretty thoroughly, saw both of you guys, yours and Jeff's comments. Didn't find anything else
Yeah,
bothered me.
yeah, and like I said,
But there was an $800 receipt, I think it was 800, for a tooth. You think I did idea what that was about? He
What,
said, on the,
Probably a year.
Yeah, but it says a tooth.
I know, but I probably,
Replace just a tooth.
probably some other.
Do you?
I'm sure.
Let me
I'm
see.
sure it's gotta be.
Do you remember who the vendor was?
Not off the top of my head, I printed it off and left it at home, of course, but that was just more curiosity.
Set out the backhoe,
Yeah.
set out the backhoe, the tooth.
It must have been, yeah,
Well, it's possible, I hadn't
it's-
thought about that.
it was either off the backhoe or the loader, because it's from airing, so yes, there was, I'd have to ask Brett, what it came off of, or what
it
it
wasn't
was.
my tooth.
What they hit the brake or shoe.
Or it might have, actually, there's 41 of them, so my guess is it's for the head on the,
Chipper?
Yeah, or the,
Some credit we have?
not the stump grinder, but the.
The thing they go along the roadside and
Yeah,
stuff?
destroy the cheese.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah, I forget what I'm blanking on what they call it right now.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Yeah, yes. It's either, it's, yeah, my guess is that, cause that's what it's, there's 41, or there's 20 of them at $41 each.
Yeah, oh, and Brad, the other thing too is somebody is tracking all of our, I mean, I know what we're spending on, the Center Bridge project. Is somebody, putting that on an Excel spreadsheet, so?
We
have-
can.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, not that they have to do it right now.
Yeah,
but
we can go
it's-
back, I mean, we've had a handful,
Right,
I think if, off the top of my head, and I don't hold me to this number, but I think we're probably somewhere right now like $16,000 into it on our 20% portion.
I just wanna track that,
At
just
least,
so we have a
at
good
least,
number.
at least that, yeah.
Sounds good, Brad. So Brad, I know that you added the 1,725.08 for the AB data. What is the final total now for AP Dutch? You said 90,000.
$92,361.82.
Is there a motion to that effect to approve the accounts payable in that amount?
I'll make a motion.
By trustee Finch, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Trustee Millies, discussion. I know we had a lot of discussion, gentlemen, but all in favor of that motion? Oh, I'm sorry, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Unanimously. Brad, we have no manual checks, right, sir?
No,
Let's see. Workhorse.
and the report should have been in there for workhorse.
Yeah, I did see that. How come that 1 November one was totally blank, that first column? Wasn't that a
Oh,
thing?
that was revenues, I think, but I'll,
Throughout, revenues and
Oh.
expenditures.
I don't know what the
It says
expenditures.
November nothing, and I'm sure you guys did things in.
Yeah, I might not have, I might have to go back and see if the
Yeah,
stuff wasn't
I mean,
posted.
it's not a big deal.
But I'll go back and look and I'll have
Yep.
the girls in the office actually put it into a spreadsheet so we can see where it comes to for the year.
Guys, any questions on that? Okay, then we're moving, Brad, you would just, the audit should be done in December now, right?
Yep, I mean, I think we've gotten her everything that she's asked for, so last I talked to her like last week, she was starting to say, I'm gonna run it by one of the partners and then
To check.
on that there. I mean, I think they might be waiting on a couple like letters back from the bank and stuff like that, which is normal.
And I know John was getting back to them on they have to list that one lawsuit
Yeah.
that, so we're getting close. And I did send Karen an email telling her, hey, you sent this last November before you were here. Is that the same thing? So I told her there was no rush, but, so with that, I did not get a chance to look at any of the minutes. I did breeze over some of them, and there was parts where it said village board discussion, and
Ones for August were in the packet.
Yeah, the August ones were, but the September and the November were.
yeah, so and Brad too, is that normal when you have, an agenda item, there's absolutely no discussion? If there's the agenda item, go right into a motion?
We can put, if you guys want, we can put,
Discussed previously, or the plan
we can
commission?
put that a discussion occurred between board members or,
Or discuss the item above?
yeah, we put that discussed agenda item or,
I mean, if they didn't discuss it because there was a public hearing, I
yeah, we
discussed
can put
earlier.
stuff like, we can
But
put,
you know, when you go, when you look at the minutes and there's an agenda item and then there's no discussion, agenda motion, I just wanted something in there, just so that the public knows that the board or plan commission or both discussed it previously, just so they don't think that we're just doing it, you know. So, but I, like I said, I did not get a chance to look at December 13th so I would defer to the board.
I
And
read
which-
them and they looked right to me as far as I can remember.
Oh, did you fix that, John Macy had a comment on your September
I'll
13th?
have to go back and look at those, I did not.
The attorney did make a correction to the and I don't know how to handle that, cause the plan commission's already approved it. But you could approve it John Macy did have a legal comment on that? I did see that.
Does it change anything?
It
What we're
changes,
doing?
it doesn't change, the board can approve it with the comment made by the village attorney. I would suggest doing that.
Okay.
Is there a motion to that effect?
I just said, okay.
So that was trustee Finch, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Millies, and, Brad, you're just gonna add that, with the comment made by, John Macy. Discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Brad, I'm going to abstain because I did not do my homework. On November 2nd, is the board ready to act on,
I'll make a motion to approve November 2nd minutes.
is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Swanee, Jim won. Discussion, gentlemen. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And, I'm just gonna abstain because I didn't do my homework. With that, I would entertain a motion now to reconvene into closed session as read by the village president and printed on the agenda. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Brad, could you do a roll call vote?
President Chu,
Yes.
trustee Swanee,
Yes.
trustee, Finch,
Yes.
trustee Newman,
Yes.
trustee Millies.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, we are in closed session. Once again, if anybody's watching, happy Thanksgiving. And Brad, you let me know when we're off.